Law and wisdom. What is law and what is wisdom? What happens when a society forsakes one or the other? Well, through the following 15-minute documentary, we will explain what happens when a society forsakes law or wisdom, when law forsakes wisdom, and when wisdom forsakes law. Because the laws of the people are the laws of...
I want to get out!
Get back in the trunk!
I don't want to!
Get back in the trunk.
What?
Thank you. Question number 1. What is the connection between law and wisdom in contemporary society?
I think that really the connection is that it takes wisdom to make good laws and balance out laws and freedoms. And that's where their connection comes from.
Society.
In our society, I don't think there is a connection between law and wisdom. Laws are made by pundits to appease special interest groups without any real realization to actually what they do. If you notice in the government, there's a lot of talk about how laws are being passed, but once they've been passed, no one ever looks back to actually see on how those laws are affecting people and what they've actually accomplished.
In my opinion, the connection between law and wisdom is that laws are created by our society in order to make it a safe and functional place for all people. And those laws are built on thousands of years of wisdom and experience from different societies.
I don't feel our laws have kept pace with the 21st century. We have a lot of laws that I feel are on the books that probably need to be reviewed, revised, that type of thing, to reflect the changes that we have going on in our society today.
Moral laws are generally made by wise people, and they're kind of like guidelines, if you will. Like not all the time. There's some like laws that are kind of weird, but more or less they're kind of like guidelines to live a wise life, I guess.
Thank you. The second question is it possible for one to exist without the other in any kind of functional way?
I think maybe in a bell curve, the majority of the folks would function well without the law. But on either end, top end or bottom end, that bottom third has to have some type of law and therefore a consequence placed on them. If they don't do something, or if they do something, conversely, then this is what will happen, regardless of the wisdom or value of it.
Yes, it is possible because certain laws aren't based on wisdom. Certain laws are based on what is believed to be right and wrong, as opposed to what actually is right and wrong. So it's all about how you view what wisdom is.
But then
the chicken came first, and then the egg.
Then you have varying views of wisdom as well. Because wisdom can be a form of common sense or it can be a form of intelligence.
It's all relative.
Functional way, no, I don't think so. You've got to follow some conventional wisdom as law is established. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Way?
Well, as I had just said, one does exist without the other. Whether or not it's functional, that's up for debate.
And third, what are the consequences for a society that places limits on one or the other, or both?
I think society breaks down, and eventually we lose sight of what society and what government is really built for, which is to serve and protect the rights of the individual.
Or both. I can't even imagine placing limits on wisdom. Societies that have burned books have never survived very, very long. Societies that have placed limits or put very restrictive laws in place have always fallen apart as well.
Okay. I believe we all possess free will, and if you have these constraints, these too much strictness, I feel, that just confines us and it doesn't allow us to be free thinkers, free beings. So I'm not for a whole lot of constraints. I feel that people should exercise some control, caution, look out for the other person or humankind or mankind, but we don't have to have all these laws and constraints to keep us from being who we are.
You can't really limit a law.
That's just the question, Jay.
Okay. Well, you can't limit the law. Limiting wisdom, you can't really do that either, because wisdom is just kind of like life experience.
But some
which I
people,
think is like,
have used the example though of book burning.
that's not wisdom, that's knowledge.
So there's a difference.
Yeah.
Could
That's
you?
like two different words.
Well, other than their two different words, Mr. Smart IB Kid, could you, elaborate on the difference between wisdom and knowledge?
You get knowledge from like a book or teachings. You get knowledge of like tangible facts. Wisdom is more like stuff you learn through experience.
All right.
Stuff you can teach, but you know that they're not going to learn until they do it themselves.
All right.
I believe that if you put restrictions on wisdom, that society can no longer really grow. And if you put restrictions on laws, then there's utter chaos.
You're so cool.
Bravo! Bravo! Now that is an answer. All right.
Law is order, and good law is good order. Stop.